Whatever you think that is, yes. I'm back on Crete. Now, this playtest isn't gonna last forever. We've got a number of days left until it goes down. I have put some grinding time into this. I've put several more hours in. I've unlocked more stuff. I've reached the yellow rank of Hunterdom. I think it's Gamma. I'm not entirely sure what the name was again. But this lets me unlock more stuff. Now, this run is going to both showcase some of the things I've learned since the first video and kind of be a band-aid for some of the things I was wrong about or just didn't know about, but also, you know, besides showing all the stuff I've unlocked, maybe some feedback for the devs too, since this is a alpha playtest and they're looking for feedback. They want to know what we think. So I've got a few things of praise and a few things that might need some adjusting. Firstly, though, just taking a look at the stuff that's to be unlocked down here, the only thing I haven't unlocked yet is Bone Nest as a finisher. The purple DNA, I think, if I'm taking a guess, is boss DNA specifically. It's the only type I've never gotten any of. I don't know if it's just exceedingly rare or if only the bosses drop it. You know, spoilers, I've still not beaten a boss. I've seen the boss, well, the first boss. There's apparently two. I've not beaten a single one of the main bosses yet. This game is hard, which is potentially feedback number one, is that it's very unforgiving with some of its difficulty, especially in single player, but I hear multiplayer is about the same because of how things like incrementally get more difficult, but we'll go over that in a minute. First, I'm going to quickly go over the weapons. I've got a nice supply of new weapons, both ranged, melee, the whole works, you know, all of this stuff to look at. So we have our little dagger right here. The dagger, as you would imagine, is fast, doesn't deal anywhere near as much damage, you know, from a hit-to-hit basis, but it's fast. It's also the first weapon that I unlocked that just didn't have a shield on it, so you don't have the block as an option, but you do, for your right-click, have a big, powerful, thrusting stab. I think if you do a running attack, you get a lunge, and you eventually get a stab, either by just doing combos, but the main thing is you do right-click, you get a big stab. The one thing I'm not sure about this button is if I do any attack and I mash my dodge button, he'll cancel into a dodge damn near straight away. But if I do my right-click stab, and I mash, and I mean I'm mashing, see that right there? That's the first frame that I can actually roll out of this. This is an insanely dangerous button to use. You either kill with this, or get killed with this, so I just never use it. Ranged weapon. This is the spray and pray incarnate, and I'm gonna aim dead center. I'm not gonna do any course correction. That is the recoil we're living with. You really want to fight with this, and maybe do like controlled bursts if you want more accuracy out of it. This thing is, you know, close range spray and pray incarnate. Pretty cool. Diablo, another sword that doesn't have a shield. The light scepter. There are a lot more guns than there are melee for me at the moment, as you can see. We'll quickly try and get through these because some of the guns are just faster and slower versions of each other. The Diablo is a curved sword, also does not have a shield, and from what I can tell, doesn't have a right-click feature to it either yet. Probably just because it's early days. I don't know what they would give this, when they give this, but it doesn't let you do anything besides just swing. It feels pretty good, all things considered. I recommend this if you want, you know, a weapon that's on the cheap side, where you don't need to invest too many points in it. It's pretty good. But ultimately is just a sword. The light septum is kind of similar to the spray and pray. It's kind of, you know, it's just different stats, but functions very similarly. The bio sword is what we started with. It's the default sword, and then you have the scallops. For the sake of this, I'm just going to leave it on the canine. Nah, I'll show you the scallops first. Mostly because these are going to get all very expensive. So the septum is, I think, the first gun you start with. That's your default. Heavy septum over here is... I might save that for last for a particular reason. So bio piercer instead. Let's look at that. So the bio piercer gun is a pretty powerful, albeit expensive to shoot, semi-auto rifle. It's pop, 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 pop. But as you can see, every single shot, bam, it takes like an entire stamina stock. So you get like 5-6 shots at best until you're out. So you want to have some pretty decent accuracy on this. However, our weapon over here is the closest thing you're going to get to like a rapier. It's a very nimble, stabby, thrusty pokey boy, as you can see by some of these attacks. It does have a shield, do have block functionality. I think this is personally my favorite melee weapon in the game right now. I think it's just the best one overall. I'll get into that a little bit more later when I come back to look at it more. Let me just change these around. The Bio Smasher, I'm a big fan of the Bio Smasher. I just don't get to use it as much anymore because there is a better gun overall. But the Bio Smasher is kind of like the first gun that I got, which is like the one-shot king. This is as fast as it shoots as a default. It is exactly what you think it is. You shoot them in the head, chances are they're dead. If they're not dead from one shot from this at relatively, you know, medium good distance, like from here to the door is a good spot to shoot them for a guaranteed kill, then you just need to put like one DNA in that increases your gun damage. There's a yellow one, I forget the name of it. You'll be guaranteed one-shotting things as long as you hit them in the head, otherwise it's a couple of body shots. Pretty good weapon overall, but it gets outpaced by something you get later. The Mithril first gen, I wasn't sure what this was going to be better than the last one I just showed you, but you do in fact get an actual factual sniper rifle, except I just shot 2 shots and I'm out of steam already. Without zooming in, well actually I can zoom in and show you. Look at my stamina down there. I shoot once and it takes a little bit over 3 stamina. Now, there's some sort of update feature that either has come out or is coming out that's going to make it so that you can shoot guns, the sniper rifles, I believe, in particular, and not, like, send yourself into a massive metabolic crash straight away, but I don't know if I've got that update on my PC right now, or maybe it's still in the works, or I'm just misunderstanding how it works, but this is an expensive thing to shoot, and it's a bit on the costly side right now. You need to have some insanely good accuracy to get the most out of this, otherwise you are in danger. Now, finishes, I've only got one. I've got the nucleic javelin. I'm gonna put some footage on screen, I don't know, here, to show what the javelin does. Long story short, it's a really big lightning bolt javelin that you throw at an enemy. From what I understand, if you throw this at an enemy who has armor on them or is hardened, you know, they're in a defensive state, it will do next to nothing. I don't know if it's bugged or not, but it just doesn't seem to do much of anything at all. But if you throw it at an exposed or vulnerable enemy or someone who's just a bit fleshy, you'll get biggest bang for your buck right there. It does state that if you throw this and you hit an enemy with it, it'll do massive shockwave damage and kill everything in the area. I've had this happen like once, and it's very difficult for me to replicate it because the time it takes to ramp this thing up and actually throw it is an eternity. Sometimes it's just too slow. Even if you dodge an enemy's attack and think, right, now's my chance. Nah, you're still gonna get hit and you can get knocked out of it, so you either throw it or you get hit, you get knocked over, and you lose it. Very risky. Too much risk for not enough reward, unless you're playing in multiplayer, which I imagine is where this pops off. But for single player, I don't use it. Instead, we come over here to the breaker section, the Quake Deflesher. Now, I'll show you what this does when I get into the actual run, because these are a bit trickier to show. I could go to the training area, but I'll just show you when we get there. Long story short, it's a big shockwave that knocks enemies over and makes them vulnerable. It especially messes dudes up when they go into a hardened state, or those guys with the big armor on their flesh. Very good for dealing with that. It's like a must-take when you get the option to get this. In tactical, we have a new grenade. The mitochondria is fine. It's like the first thing you get, and it's just good to have as an extra tool, but it detonates way too slow, if I'm being honest. The T-cell, however, detonates much faster and is insanely useful because the damage effect lingers. Now, let me come back over to my weapons real quick. My favorite loadout, the loadout that I've been going with recently, is Heavy Septum and the Scallops with the T-cell and the Breaker. This requires a bit of investment in your evolutionary tree. Like I said, I've done a little bit of grinding. We have the entire first row kitted out, as well as parts of the second row. I've not made it much further besides the overheal. I'm chasing the third melee socket so I can put more stuff on my melee weapon, but just there's more sockets and more things in general, more biohacks. There's things like getting more damage when I'm in an adrenaline state. There's improvements for my... Oh, there's the metabolic crash thing. It's a talent. I thought I read that in a patch note. Ignore everything I said before. I'm getting my information confused. That's gonna make using things like sniper rifles a bit easier, but you know, it's you know, pick your poison kind of thing. But there's a lot of different things in here besides just, you know, bio unlocks, but biohacks are very good if you want to have more high-end gear. But the sockets, getting the second and third sockets for your stuff, insanely useful. Also, the evolutionary system, you can see there's in the upper right over here, we've got culture points, combat, ecology, and biotech. Apparently, only combat is meant to be leveling up. I don't know how I've got culture points, but if I was getting other points from other things, I'd be leveling up much faster. Now, the heavy septum is another semi-rifle, but the damage this thing does is kind of stupid. The single red bullet rifle that I showed a bit before was my preferred go-to one, and I still like it for one-shotting threats really quickly, but the pros and cons of this thing is just so much more. I'm using the other character, I forget his name, it's like Damien or something. I've completely forgotten. I've spent so much time just grinding runs and unlocking stuff that my brain is in a fog right now. So instead, we're going to come in and start a run using the tools that we have right now, and I'm going to try and explain away some of the things that I like, don't like, and just things I had misconceptions about, and things that I might still be confused about. So, first dude right here, there's an invisible wall for now. He's dead. I don't know where pigments are used. I'm going to have to ask around a little bit, but these pigments that I'm collecting, it says new pigment acquired and stuff like that. Maybe that's a thing that's not available right now, but I'm just a tad confused. Now, the strategy is you use this gun and you just run up to dudes and you shoot them in the head 3 times or so, and they just fall over and die. If they get time to harden up or interrupt you, pull out the sword and board and start swinging and do the sword and shield thing. But for the most part, if you can kill them before they do that, that's just better. The armored dudes are where things get tricky. You need to use breaker on those guys. You need to use your grenades on those guys. You just need to use more in general. Speaking of which, is there a big nasty fella out here guarding this spot? Break these eggs. That's not a big nasty fella. That just looks like a fella. And we can put him down fairly quickly and easily. What do we have over here? Wild and radioactive. Radioactive is kind of insane. I don't know if this is broken, but it feels maybe a little too good. So I'm going to put this on my gun so that my bullets inflict radiation. There's a lot of different ways that you can mess with this, but I don't quite understand how it's... And he just died. See all the green particles? He hardened up, but then died afterwards. Is this a duplicate of the same thing? Dude. What if I double radioactive my gun? I've never done that before. Your energy produces a radiation pulse around you when you are in overload. I might just double radiate my gun. Might be bad because I normally like to take other stuff on my gun as well, but this is just a... What a room to get, like, you know, right off the bat is just a double, like, mutation room where I get to go full radiation mode, radioactive man. Now, there are blue mutations. I forget what they're called. It's the speed increasing one. I've fallen madly in love with that one. You put those on your legs and you become super quick and runs get way faster. You're able to get the grind on. Even if you go in and die, you can just, in general, grind the game that much quicker. And like, look at this already. Just the difference in understanding how we want to approach combat by just shoot a dude first and then later transition into sword and board if you need to. It's so good. Now, these things here, ancestor skulls, here's where I'm confused. I've got items like ancestors in my inventory. I've got ancestor skulls and I've got knowledge orbs. Don't know what they're for yet. Probably not in the alpha right now. They're probably things that are used later on, or they're like meant for later on. If that's the case, so be it. But if there's a thing that I'm meant to be using them for now, let me know so I can start using them, because I might be missing out on something. When they start dodge rolling like that, they do a great job of making it harder for me to actually land these headshots. They don't want to get shot in the head. Could you believe it? They don't want to get shot in the head? My enemies not wanting to get... Oh, that's a dangerous mister. I don't see these guys very often. Now, this is a Black Knight enemy. Not the real name. I don't know if that's his name. But we refer to him as such because this guy... I'm going to throw a grenade out there. And he's hopefully going to walk forward. He's got a javelin right there that is insanely dangerous. He himself is insanely dangerous, right? He's going to pull this out. I'm going to knock him over. That was my breaker. We knocked him over again. And he dies. Now, this guy throws a big javelin that I line-of-sighted. If that javelin hits you, I think it just kills you. It's ridiculously strong. But the adrenaline feature, so my stamina can overcharge and go light blue. If it goes light blue, by the way, this is my gravity grenade. If I make this guy walk into it, he takes a ton of damage. So this is why I like this gravity grenade a ton. Oh my god. Okay, forget that. We gotta break this. There we go. Break that. I just took a lot of damage, by the way, but I think, dude, he died from the mines too. This is a really tall egg tower, so in the upper left, my unnoticed, my threat meter goes down whenever I break these big beam towers. But when I activate them, the bubble that comes out makes enemies take a like 90% less damage. You just don't fight them at that point. You need to break these things to stop them from killing you. But the really big ones will spit out like grenades on the ground, and they'll hurt you and enemies alike. But I think I broke it just in time for the grenade to blow up and kill the dude. There's a lot to explain. The grenade, you can throw it, it detonates really quickly, and the grenade will have a lingering effect, and if the enemies walk into it, or if you walk into it, and I imagine you're friends, because everything is like friendly fired, they won't like you for that. They will very much not like you for getting them killed because of friendly fire. But if enemies walk into it, that's a great thing for us. Very, very good, very, very great, very, very nice. I'm going to try and piss you off, sir. And then if I can, lure him into this funny crystal. Do I need to do it? No, but I'm gonna. And then I can pull out my sword and board. He's gonna flip down here. I'm gonna breaker, knock him on his ass, and then kill him. Now, I've got stuff I haven't been putting in. Let me put these in real quick. So this is the Pressalina. If I put this in my core, I get more headshot damage, so my gun gets better. I always do that. The necrosis one, if I put this in my core, my grenade and my breaker, I think, will cause necrosis to come out. That's very bad for me if I step in it. It don't get me wrong. It also, yeah, I thought so. There's someone pushing up on me. Die. I don't know why he didn't fight back. Normally they move or do something, but he just got comboed to death. They don't normally do that. The purple corruption one can be really strong for killing enemies. It's basically damage over time fog, and if you walk into it, you'll lose like a bar and a half of health. Even if it's your own effect. It's risky, but is worth it if you can control it. The low node, necrotizing a dash, don't do that. Please don't do that. It's so dangerous. It's not even worth your time, dude. Please don't. Your energy produces a radiation pulse around you when you are in overload. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we have a lot of radiation, so I'm going to put this on the melee, and I might put this on melee as well. So now our melees are inflicting necrosis and radiation on whoever we hit. We've even got some green stinkies coming off of our weapon now. And we've got some good gun damage. I just need the blue mutations to make myself run faster, put those in my low node slot, and we'll be sitting pretty. I also don't know where the hell I'm going. I got very lost along the way here. Ah! Bang. Come over here, my friend. Can you stop being a creep? Die. Look at that, dude. He's a doof. He's a doof, a real doofus, a real funny guy. Right, he's just left at me. He should... Ow, did that hurt me? I think that hurt me. Dude, roll this along the ground. It'll detonate. Now, that lingers there. If I just lead him into it again... Look at that. He just blew himself up. This grenade is, like, infinitely more useful than... Is that a Mutilina? Ooh, Mutilina gives me a damage increase. I'm pretty sure, at least, that's the damage increase one. I would have put that in my sword. I should put that in my sword still, maybe. Hello? I want to break these, please. Gunshot not doing what want. Let me just take a little quick peeky here and see if it is. We could put it in our core and get a melee and range damage equally split. Let's do that instead. We're very quickly filling these in. I don't normally fill these in so fast. So that's a blood sac. That gives me healing. But if I break it, my threat level, which is my danger meter, will increase rapidly. Like, I get 120 more added to it. Whereas instead, I want to find sky beams. Those funny egg sac things with the beams that go up into the air, we need to... What the hell is this? Oh, I know what this is. If we find those, we can reduce our threat level and make the run overall just a little bit, you know, comfier for us. knock him over. If he's going to sit there and block, we can push him over. Is that my blue? He activated that awfully quick, didn't you, buddy? Here, roll that to you. Did he die? He should have died. Hello? Are you alive? How the hell did he live? That was a grenade on a weak dude. Anyway, that's our blue, isn't it? Yes, it is the Velocitina. We put this in our feet, and we're zooming. We can stack this. I've had 2 Velocitinas in my lower slot before, and the speed that you get is good. That's healing, I believe, right there. Help, my metabolism is crashing. Nope, die. Don't care, sir. Don't care. Let me get this real quick, and let me piss off you, breaker. And then if my adrenaline caps out, you can, it's kind of hard to see, but go back and take a look. Right where my T and my Q is, where my adrenaline caps out, there's a prompt to do forward and attack or back and attack, and that causes you to do a knockdown attack. And if that lands clean on an enemy, you knock them on their ass. So you can kind of chain breaker into a knockdown. Now, the reason I like this sword so much more than the other ones, this sword in particular seems to build stamina faster. It builds the adrenaline meter up very quickly. It has higher multi-hit combo. I don't know what those trees are for, by the way. I've never found out what to do with these trees. Maybe they're just part of the scenery, but they look special. This sword kind of combos better than other swords, if you get what I mean. And if we don't have that available, we can always throw out our trusty grenade. Trying to... It's risky. It's risky. This guy's not to be dickled with. Knockdown. Kill him. That's a big thrust right there. You can already see how, like... Whoa, what was that all about? You can already see how combat has gotten a little bit smoother as I've, like, figured out what I want and don't want out of my out of my combat loop and how I want to approach things. The movement speed helps with just speeding up the game in general. But having a flow like this is also just phenomenal. Look at that. We come up here, and here's our mini-boss dude again. I recommend you wait for him to start blocking, and then we breaker him, and then we get in there and we bully him, and then he tries to stand up, and we knock him down again, and we kill him. My grenade didn't actually hit him either. My grenade is still active right there. So all of that without even the grenade doing anything. You can see my health in the bottom left has some overheal on it. If you get too much healing... it's one of my talents I've unlocked. I can overheal a little bit, which is helpful because every time you interact with any of these like DNA cylinders or artifact things, it costs 1 health to activate it and use it. Which can be expensive if you don't get any healing back. I have my grievances if I like that mechanic or not, because sometimes it like screws you from having like health available moving into a difficult area because you've had to make a choice of, do I send DNA back or do I progress and not send DNA back right now? I get the choice they're trying to make, but there's one particular example near the end of the area where you have to fight the boss where you basically choose, do you want to send DNA back and sacrifice some health before you fight a boss, or risk dying to the boss with all of your stuff and not do that? And it's like, I'm gonna send my stuff back, dude, but that means I'm gonna go into the boss fight a little weaker than I would otherwise. And I feel like until you get to the point where you don't care about DNA anymore, most people are going to just take that choice until it's no longer an issue for them. So it's almost like a non-problem. There you go, my friend. Have a grenade and have explosive stuff. There should be a big dude up here, right? Yes, there is. I did not see that attack coming, my guy. Now, there's another thing that the community of people... Because I took a look at the Steam discussion board, right? That was my attempt at... Whoa. Knockdown. That was my attempt at knocking him over, but it failed. Doesn't matter. Mutalina! Mutalina! Thank you, Mutalina. That's gonna give us increase your melee and range damage split. You know what? Screw it. More damage. I was gonna wait and try and get a blue, but as if I'm gonna get another blue straight away. Let's be real. Ow, dude. Sometimes they go straight for like a non-interruptible big attack like that, and it's just mean. There we go. Let me get some of that healing. Can I get some from you too? Now, even the ones that close really quickly, it seems like you can always dodge roll out of the way of them, even if they close insanely fast. Because if you just mash it, and you're quick enough, you shouldn't get hit by this. Like right there, I took that, it closed on me straight away, and I could take it and get out. I don't know if that's intended or not, but just, yeah, just mash dodge, dude. Just mash dodge and you're fine. In under this weird hard shell thing, we have a bunch of eggs. Break all the eggs, get my extra overhealing. We love getting this extra overhealing. If you can get fast enough, thanks to the Velocitina thing. I can't get out, there we go. You could keep this overheal going for a while, and it's basically just insurance on your life. It's great. It's very useful. I want to get more overhealing stuff in the talent tree, but damn, they died hard, dude. Not always easy to do that. Oh, you jumped at me. You're insane, lady. We do like that. I don't know if I like that more than what I've got already, though, because this gives me blocking and armor damage is really good. All small socket mutations. Can I not just replace this? I might replace the necrosis. I feel like just doing more armor damage in general is better. I can't replace the main one just yet, and that's fine. Radiation, I think, is better than necrosis, but doing more armor damage with my sword is massive. It's like, it's so important to be able to do that, because I'm not gonna lie, the armored enemies in this are a bit spongy, alright? If you've played this already, maybe you agree, maybe you don't agree. Maybe you think I'm wrong because I'm playing wrong. But the big armored fellas, they can take quite a few hits with the old sword before they start to break down. Just an observation. Just an observation. But the regular dudes, yeah. Nah, lady. Ah, forget it. Whoa. Got him. Thought I was gonna miss that. We got him. There should be a big fella up here guarding something of interest. I'm gonna yeet this at him.
Didn't see that coming.
He died. I think the crystal on the wall blew up along with it, and he just got slammed with a lot of damage. Was that another one? Ooh. Ranged armor damage doesn't matter too much to me, but I could replace... See, if I'd waited, I could have put one in and then the other one in and gotten a ton of armor damage. I might wait and think about that a little bit. But double armor damage on my sword sounds like a really good idea, but I'm getting the warning that if I put it in now, it'll destroy all of them. Which means my other white one, so I need to wait until I get something else. Maybe another white one if I can, I don't know. We'll wait and see. Got one. Then we can just sword the other one. And this is our flow state. Break that thing. You see how good this gun is, dude? You see now why everyone just seems to be in awe of this weapon? And I guarantee the devs know, because like everyone in the discussion board seems to be talking about this gun being the best gun, like by far. And it feels it. It really feels it. Now in here, this is a special chamber. There's a lot of time saves in here. So if I break this really quickly, you'll see my time on my threat go down by 25. The weird thing about this is, though, I haven't found enough. Well, that's the big elite guy. I'm running a risk by doing that. I need to be careful. I need to be careful. I need to be careful. The wall! This guy's not to be fucked with. Get with the little guy first. Alright, he's not vulnerable anymore. When he glows red like that, it means he's especially vulnerable. Maybe I can chain these a little bit. Yep, we can chain him a little bit. There we go. This dude was like an elite, like a proper elite, like big dick, like more so than this guy. This guy is annoying, but that guy, he's just built different, you know? Look at the difference in time it took to kill that other guy. I had to like full on chain him. So I want to try and keep that meter from going from unnoticed into like the next tier. I need to keep, see that little line that's going down right there? When that line hits the bottom, it blows up and I get my time allocation. That's how these things work. I didn't know that the first time around, but that bubble does two things. Any enemy that gets caught in the bubble seems to get the massive 90% damage reduction, but they also get aggroed to my position and a really nasty... No way. It happens, dude. I think if it happened like this, it means it's meant to be. Double whites. Metaptonos. Big armor damage now. I've had a bug happen where one of these is activated like 5 minutes away in the distance. Somehow I've triggered it, and as a result, the entire map aggroed to me because the spread of that radius just kept going and going and going, and like I had 9 dudes chasing me at some point, and it was impossible. I just died. But I'm not getting... This is gross. I'm not getting too many of the skybeam thing. Oh my god, that's another big elite dude. Hello, sir. That's a Shoryuken. Wait, no, he's not. He's not who I thought he was. He died immediately. That is not from me being the best. That's just from him not being the guy. Damn! Hello, sir. Are you more special than special? That's healing right there. And that is more damage right there. But I don't want that. Where the fuck did you go, dude? Were you here the whole time? Knock him down. Alright, my grenade didn't work, but... I'm so... Am I going, like, in weird circles? What's going on here, dude? I hit him. Where the fuck am I? I'm lost. I need to not get hit by that. I needed to find more skybeam. I wanted to stop the skybeam from escalating. Is this the right way? I think this is the right way, yeah? I got into a maze somehow.
Need more energy.
I also need this. This is a mutation builder. I can spend some health, and it will give me a free mutation, but right now, we're kind of good. I mean, I've got all my mutations in, and that increases headshot damage. This increases melee and range. If I get another pink, I might replace my core ones with 2 of those. I need to go get to my location. I'm going the wrong way. We're about to trigger the next stage of being noticed, which is alright considering how far we are already, but... I'd rather not if I could help it. You can put the dogs down straight away with a good headshot. Does massive damage to them. I use my gun to break eggs as well, because it's quick and it's good at it. You can also just run over them if you sprint over them. Pigments! Look, more pigments. What do they do? New pigment added. Great. Lovely. Fuck does it do? You tell me. Oh, there you are. I was looking for you. My hombre, my friend, my buddy, my pal. The thing that sucks about whenever the meter goes up, we're about to hit going from unnoticed into, what is it? Miffed, peeved, pissed off.
Smooth.
Fucking angry. Whatever it is. When you go up, a horde comes after you, which is like 3 to 4 dudes of various difficulty. Sometimes it's not that hard. Sometimes it's ridiculous. I think it's like random. I'm not sure. But the horde is something you want to be mindful of because they can and will just ruin your day if all goes to shit. Got him. I think if a direct hit on the grenade hits, it just kills those guys. But if it's like a if they walk into it, like a glancing hit, it doesn't quite one-shot. Is this a DNA? No, it's an Ancestor's Arsenal, which lets me change my weapons. I don't know if it's always random weapons or not, or if it's new things, but... There we go, disturbed. We've moved up into... The enemy knows I'm here a little bit. And there's the horde that we don't want to deal with, but we're gonna have to now. So fingers crossed that that horde is not the end of the world. They do know where I am. They come straight. Is that the horde? Is it you two? Because you guys already knew I was here. You were like walking at me before I even started. Hello? Are you part of the horde? I hope so. The horde bothers me. But if that's all we have to deal with the horde, then I'm fine with it. We lose timer on the disturbed thing as time goes by. In the last video, you saw what happens if that timer gets too high. Oh, this guy's part of the horde. Those guys are part of the horde. What the fuck? I'm just being besieged, dude.
I feel one with my...
But they're bow and arrow guys. Bow and arrow guys are immune to range attacks just in general. So you want to bait them into melee range or make them fuck up for some reason. Did you just walk into the other one and then walk back into the first one? What the shit? Hey, I won't complain. Energy Tina? Energy Tina is what again? Boosts my energy gain, which is really good to be fair. Maybe I do Energy Tina into, you know, let's do that. Let's do Energy Tina in this one into you, because building energy is better for me right now. I don't need the headshot damage anymore. I think we're just killing dudes just fine. We're about to get up to, believe it or not, the boss. And so I don't really need headshot damage because I don't believe the boss is susceptible to ranged whatsoever. Maybe he is, but I'm not good at it if he is. Let's just get in here and see what happens, right? So I haven't dumped my DNA at all since I started, have I? Hello, sir. Ow! I didn't realize I'd fucked up that badly. It suddenly got very dark. Oh, I went to do my Q and I just beefed it. I beefed it bad. We can't be affording to do that. There we go. Dealt with. And our disturbance meter resets. Every time you beat a mini-boss before these gateways, you see how my meter went back to the beginning of this current segment? Like, it's... You want to beat the clock. If I could beat the first mini-boss before I got to Disturbed, like I did, we get extra time. Dump all of that, and I just lost a little bit of life as a result. What is this? An Ancestor's Arsenal? Nah, it's fine. Bit of a stutter right there, but it's okay, because we are moving into the boss. I've never beaten this guy. I don't plan to now. I feel like my current loadout is the best bet for it, but I need to learn him. Big dude with a hammer, we'll just get in here and see, and then after that we'll start wrapping things up. But for now, it's like... This guy's a bit tough. Let's just say that. Not impossible, I just need to learn him. I've only fought him like 2 times until now. This is my 3rd attempt on him. But he's a dick, to put it lightly. And he gives a bit of a mood. If you're a Risk of Rain fan, he might seem familiar in a way. Anyway, let's grenade first. Big hammer, go swing, swing. Big AoE, don't like that. I can't quite see if that's even an attack that's bad for me. Roll a grenade. He hurts. Don't know what the fuck that is. What's that all about? Is he healing? Oh, don't want to be in that. Okay. Roll that grenade in, hit him. Whoa, 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 whoa. Bad, ow, 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 ow. Don't know what that is. Oh, it's a swing. He was flipping and flopping, dude. Oh, well. That's my best attempt so far. That's my best attempt. We are a Gamma Hunter, so I've got Beta, Alpha, and Olympian to go. People are clearly doing well at this. I hear from the online discussion board that a few people on that board, if you could believe it, are cheating. Cheaters in the game? No way. Yes, believe it or not, some people in there are cheating. Now, before I start wrapping things up, eventually I might get back in there and beat that boss. I'm kind of learning his patterns. The AoE on the ground is probably the most, like, difficult thing for me to deal with, because sometimes I'm in the middle of doing an attack, and the AoE gives you, like, just enough time to do 2 rolls, and no more forgiveness than that, and you need to get out of the way of it. As you upgrade your rank, we're yellow rank, so this is the base arsenal. I didn't know that these stairs led to extra arsenals. That's where I've unlocked the extra stuff that I can, you know, get. We come up here into the first tier where you rank up the first time round, stick my hand in, and look, here's all the stuff that I showed you before, all the extra goodies. I take my hand out of that, we go up here, we walk up around the stairs, and there's, if I can get up the stairs, I'm getting stuck on something, the Gamma Arsenal. That's where I belong. I'm in the Gamma Boy crew. I can unlock things like the Valvida, the Auto Smasher, and the Mitral, but I haven't been able to unlock these two because I don't get access to purple yet, but I think I can now access the Auto Smasher, so I'm not going to leave you without seeing something cool. If I ever beat the boss and find out how to get purple, I'll be able to unlock these things damn near straight away, because I'm slowly... Gray and blue I'm building up tons of, and yellow is not that difficult to find. I've got the reds that I need. Let me go take a look. I think I need to go downstairs to... Yippee! To actually equip, though, at this particular one. What's this gun like, sir? It was the what? It's the Auto Smasher, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, but I can't have it just yet. Hang on. Take that down a little bit. Auto Smasher, please. What's the Auto Smasher like? That's not bad. That seems fine. It depends on the stats on it. So what are the stats like? It shoots fine. So the Auto Smasher has really good... high energy efficiency? Does that mean energy, like, it's efficient? Because... That's not bad, actually, considering how strong it must be. Alright, here we go. I'm going to try and be quick with these. So, locking on. This is something that a few people want, and I'm not sure if it's anything more than a band-aid fix, but there's an overarching issue here where players are having a hard time keeping enemies in their focus, because there's a lot of guys like the main boss that jumps over your head, enemies that like to leap through the sky, there's instances where you might be surrounded by multiple enemies from different sides, and visual clarity can be a little bit difficult. Players, for that reason, want a lock-on so they can always be focused on a target, but that's not going to help with a multiple enemy situation. Maybe pulling the camera back from the player character is an option. I'm not sure if that's going to ruin the whole over-the-shoulder mood that you're going for, but at the moment, a way of giving more visual clarity might help, because it does suck getting punched in the back of the head by an enemy that you just had no idea was there, or that snuck up on you or whatever, and then ending up in a situation where you're trying to keep two dudes in front of you but you can't, or the boss is flipping and dipping in the air and I can't see what the hell he's doing. It's tricky, to say the least. Camera stuff is always nasty. Next up is like an all-encompassing, like, twofold thing where it comes to difficulty when starting out and tutorial stuff. So on the more tutorialized side, obviously this is something that an alpha is going to be limited on, because they're still working on basic stuff, let alone, you know, hard encoding a tutorial to tell you what they're going to do with these mechanics, when even the devs don't know if they're going to stay the way that they are. But I'm just going to say right now, players who are picking up a playtest and checking it out for the first time, and potentially, you know, liking the game enough to wishlist it and want to play it later, if there's no way for them to readily know how to play the game or what certain things do, they might end up just dropping the game and not coming back and trying it anymore because of just being frustrated or disheartened with not knowing what the hell to do. Some players out there who become immediately kind of engrossed in the game will seek out the community, and they'll look at either forum boards on Steam, or they'll go to the Discord, stuff like that. Take to Twitter for discussions. I don't know what they want to do. I had to go to the Steam discussion boards to get a few answers for things myself, but some players out there aren't going to do that. So as time goes on, some things that are a bit less explained in the beginning might need more explanation, or proper tutorials to explain how to interact with different game mechanics, just so that the players aren't completely lost. An example is the Skybeam eggs that reduce your threat meter. I had no idea how those things worked, and I also didn't quite understand how the overcharging feature works, and we'll get straight onto that one. So the stamina meter builds up and you overcharge, and when you're in an overcharged state, there's a few talents that give you like damage buffs and special effects, but mainly you also get access to a knockdown attack that can, you know, smack a dude on his ass, and then you get a big damage opportunity from it. But building that specifically with some weapons and loadouts feels very punishing, if not impossible, because while attacking an enemy builds your stamina, if an enemy puts up a guard and they block the attack, like those big armored dudes, or if you need to dodge or block yourself, you lose a lot of stamina. So it feels like you're doing an uphill battle where it's like I'm building my meter, I'm building my stamina bar, and then the enemy blocks and you lose half of it, or you have to dodge and you start losing some because you're stuck in like dodge, smack 1-2. He's doing another attack, dodge, smack 1-2. Oh, there's another attack, dodge. Oh no, there's like 2 enemies now and they're chain attacking. I have no room to really do any combos. I'm just stuck doing 1-taps and dodging. Building that up is tough sometimes. I don't know what you really would want to do there. Personally, I would just detach overcharging from the stamina mechanic entirely and just make it a separate bar that builds as you attack enemies. But that's just me, but it can feel really rough to build. I mentioned the breaking the sky beams thing already as a tutorialized thing, not really understanding how it works, but another facet to it is if there are enemies that are aggro to you while you're doing that, the buff that they get is surreal. It's incredibly powerful right now. It's so strong that fighting those enemies is actually pointless. Don't even attack those enemies. You need to break the tower. But if you're solo and you've got 2 or forbid 3 enemies on you, those guys are chaining attacks back and forth and they're jumping at you. They're not giving you a moment's peace. If it's the male enemy type that spit out the little wiggling worm things, you can barely outrun that, let alone deal with it if you're trying to multi-target, focus on a tower and that thing. I get that the game has a big focus towards multiplayer, but solos are going to exist, like myself for the most part, and it's so punishing. Maybe balance adjustments for when solo players are messing with things like that, but for now it's very tough to deal with. And also the radius. I would think maybe keep the radius of the buff bubble like limited, because that thing seems to expand damn near infinitely and it will start aggroing enemies from all over the map that you haven't even seen yet. Last but not least is health cost on the interactable objects like the DNA extractors. So this ties in with the difficulty when starting out thing, where when you very first begin playing the game, the average player might start dying, you know, more often than not before they even see that mini-boss fight where they get to the end of the first area. They're going to go around and fight a few enemies, maybe fight their first big tough armored guy, their first flying enemies maybe, the lady enemies that fly up into the sky and shoot the balls at you. There's a lot of variety here already, but the player is going to die, right? They're not going to make it all the way through on their first try, but the problem is they don't keep anything. They don't keep any of their DNA unless they stockpile it and bank it at the DNA extracts. This can be extremely disheartening for a new player who wants to make progress incrementally and learn as they go and feel like they're getting somewhere. It's the equivalent of building experience and then losing all of it when you die, but there isn't so much as like a Dark Souls mechanic where you can go back and pick up your DNA where you left off, because it's not a persistent world. It's like procedurally generated stages, so I get that having that kind of dropped DNA mechanic might be difficult, if not impossible, to really, you know, use. Maybe make it so that when you die and you start a run fresh, at the very beginning, there's like a little mailbox where you can take the DNA that you left. That way you can't use it back home. You need to get out with the DNA, but as you're progressing, you're just building up this stockpile of DNA that you have to pick up each time you begin, and until you succeed, you don't get to use it. If that's the direction you want to go in, that's an idea, because that way when the player eventually does get through and they get to a DNA extract, they can cash in a huge chunk and get this big dopamine hit of, I finally did it, I can get a new weapon. But other than that, let them keep their DNA, because those extracts, you either get lucky and find one out in the world before you get to the mini-boss fight, or you have to find the mini-boss fight and get that far ahead, and the new player experience is rough as a result. And that ties into the health cost. So not only is it going to be hard to even find one of these things, but when you get there, you jam your arm in that thing and it bites a chunk of health out of you. Now, obviously, as you've played the game more and you get like the overheal mechanic and you get health coming out of your ears and you're not getting hit as much and you're getting better at the game, that's a small price to pay because you can refill that health very quickly. But for the new players who haven't invested the hours to get good enough to get through, you know, unscathed, that's a punishment and a half. Even me still right now, I've put about 6-7 hours in, and getting to the final boss fight and having to pay out an extra health point that I can't get back because the boss fight's in the very next room, I'm just going in weaker than I normally would be. And that creates this mentality where you go into your runs and you're going to do one of two things. Do I prioritize actually progressing in the run and not cash in my DNA and keep my health nice and high so I can fight the boss and do better and risk losing all my DNA? Or do I just cash out every chance I get so that I can at least squeeze away a little bit of savings here and there? because most players, when they're beginning, before they've unlocked a loadout that they like, they're going to take the ladder. They're just going to start cashing out, and they're going to get to boss fights, they're going to get to tough situations, their health is low, and it's going to feel like the game is punishing them for having overcome a challenge. Did you beat the boss and get to this particular point? Congratulations, pay us 1 health, please. You want to keep that experience, right? Pay us 1 health, please. It kind of feels mean-spirited, especially when you've got comparatively hard games out there like Souls-likes and stuff like that, where people complain that you don't get to keep your experience. You've got to go back and pick it up. In this, you don't even get to do that. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Those are my 2 cents from a little under 10 hours of playing the game myself. I do like this. There's a lot of promise here. It's a very cool premise, very like gross but pretty at the same time aesthetic. I like interesting new like ways of presenting games like this. The sci-fi DNA hunter kind of thing is very cool indeed. I like the way that it plays out. But with all of that said and done, I've got to get out of here. I hope you guys have enjoyed another little look at Crete, and I will see you all again next time. Have a good one.